Hey guys, don't forget to push the subscribe button, and I want to say welcome to Talking News. And today we're going to be going over an updated version of the Andreen McDonald story. She's the woman that was living in San Antonio that went missing March 1st. Anyways, Andreen McDonald and Andre McDonald grew up in Portland Parish on the northeast coast of the Jamaica Island. And Port Antonio is a small, laid-back capital. While it might have been full of beautiful sights, white sandy beaches with forests that merged into its beaches, it was a very poor country. A lot of people were in poverty. Now, Andreen's mother and father divorced after Andreen was born, so she was a baby when they separated, and supposedly Mr. Anderson actually raised Andreen, according to an article, until she was 15 years old. And both parents seemed to be really good parents, because Andreen turned out to be a very self-driven woman. Now, according to some information that I found, Andreen and Andre McDonald, they end up moving to Crestview, Florida for a while. Where they live in, I think they live in an apartment for a little bit, and then they live in a home for a little bit, until later on, when his career would call for them to move. Andre McDonald actually had joined the Air Force Reserves around 2004, and he ended up staying into the Air Force the remainder of his life, which we'll discuss in a little bit. Now, Andreen was very young when she earned her bachelor's degree in finance. She attended the University of Texas, and she had her mind set on bigger things.
Andre McDonald was about 10 years older than his lovely, ambitious wife.
McDonald was about 10 years older than his lovely, ambitious wife. And like I had mentioned before, he joined the Air Force 2004. He was in the Active Guard Reserve from April 2018, and it would be completed in 2021. He was a cyber warfare engineer, and he had no discipline actions against him. He had no background that he had any problems during his career. He was smart, he seemed to love his family, and he seemed to also have an amazing sense of humor. Together, the couple would grow in great success. Anyway, so Andreen said, failure isn't an option. She picked a business that she could, strive while helping others. She come from a background of caring people. Her mother was a nurse's assistant, as well as, Andre McDonald's watched his grandmother take care of his Aunt Lydia, who was in a tragic accident. His aunt was the only one to survive out of 4. Her leg was amputated, and that seems to be the reason that they were interested in starting this assisted living facility for people who needed it. Andreen says she grew up poor with nothing, and that was the drive to make her very successful. She explained no one in her family had a formal education. It was a poor, hard life. But everything seemed perfect with this couple. I mean, everything seemed perfect. And this was the problem, is you know, they're very successful at a very young age. And now everything's going so great as the business grows. Their family also grows. They have a young daughter in 2011. Andre and Andreen welcomed the new addition to their family, and they were very proud and loved their daughter very much. Andreen McDonald was the type of woman that had a very close relationship with her employees, but she would come after having, the new child, to struggle with managing time, because she was also into herself fitness, and she had a very busy day. And she explained in a magazine article, she was really having trouble struggling everything that she had, but she was doing it, and that she could do it. The family was married for 10 years, and Andre a major, Andreen a business entrepreneur. What seemed to be a perfect relationship by social media, internet documents, and according to family, would come to light when one of the employees that worked for the McDonald's would show a different side of what we were seeing from this couple. So it seems that Miss Wing Floors, manager for one of the 3 or 2 assisted living businesses that the McDonald's own, told a local news, San Antonio Express, their relationship was on the rocks. So this is probably around, the very early 2017. Floor says, "We knew Andreen was not happy with her husband anymore." So it seems like the staff knew more about what was going on with the McDonald's relationship than anybody outside. And this is because the McDonald's used to live in one of the assisted living houses. It actually had 2 stories where they used part of their business for their home, and that would be the second floor. And then the bottom floor was used for, it was in the Eden neighborhood on the northwest side. They used that bottom half for the patients. And according to some police records, the police were called to the residence at least twice in 2017 for the family violence. Also in 2017, while everything seems to be growing in a direction they would want it to grow, Andre McDonald filed for divorce according to court records. And it also shows that they, are disputing. He's wanting to dispute over the businesses. And that's 2017 February. According to the facility manager, Floors, she says she often heard glass breaking, and she heard them arguing on the second floor. It was common. Then Floors goes on to describe the personality between Andreen McDonald and Andre McDonald. And Andreen was a driven, friendly, bubbly girl, whereas Andre was not involved with the business, not as friendly, and didn't treat the staff very well. But even though things weren't going so great, the McDonald's actually purchased a $400,000 home in Timberwood. It's a 2-story home in a very upscale neighborhood, and they seemed to change the direction from where they were in February. According to a family member, this was an exciting period during their life. They were very happy and excited about this house, and supposedly Hyatt moved in with the family along with their new daughter, their dog. It was a beautiful time, like I mentioned. But Miss Smith, it's not for certain whether she lived there on a full-time basis, because some articles say that she lives back and forth from the Timberwood house to the Eden house. So we're not really certain where she lives, but the mother was very involved. Andreen McDonald was also into fitness, And this is where you will find out the story turns spoiled. Andreen was reliable, very reliable, and she hit the gym every day at 5 a.m. But on March 1st, there was no Andreen, and this led to concern for the friends that really knew Andreen and worked out with her at the gym. So a few of the friends tried to call Andreen McDonald. They tried to reach Andre McDonald. They could not reach them by phone. So they decided that maybe they needed to drive over to the house and make sure everything was okay. Now, there are different articles, different theories of how this played out, and I'm sure they're trying to hide the true story so it doesn't mess up the case. But according to one article, friends of Andreen McDonald show up to the McDonald's two-story home and knock on the door. Nobody answers. They walk around to the back, find the back door is unlocked. They go inside. They look for Andreen. They have no luck of finding her. At that point, they're in contact with Andreen's mother. They're in contact with the police. They're getting very worried about the well-being of Andreen McDonald. One of the friends leave the McDonald's home, go and pick up Miss Smith, which is Andreen's mother, bring her back to the house. And according to two different theories as to what went on at this moment, either the police showed up at this moment or they showed up a little bit later. And what they explained that they seen as they walked through the master bedroom, they say it was in disarray. It was a mess, and the smell of bleach was strong in the bathroom, and it appeared that someone had just cleaned up. They also seen blood on the light switch. And at some point, they picked up the McDonald's 7-year-old daughter at school and asked whether she knew what happened. According to several accounts and witnesses, including Flora's Cindy Johnson, which is a sister to Andreen McDonald, she said that the child stated that Daddy hurt Mommy and that Andreen fell on the floor. She also said another version is that she said Daddy hurt Mommy and Mommy was going like this, according to Andreen's sister, mimicking difficulty breathing. The business manager recorded the conversation and gave the recording to investigators. So Miss Smith, Andreen's mother, hurried the 7-year-old granddaughter into her coat after the sheriff's deputies arrived to interview the child. The child had blue beads decorating her hair. The child played with a computer tablet that was showing cartoons. She was jumping around, laughing, apparently oblivious to her mother's absence. Miss Smith explained that the child really didn't understand what was happening right now. Now, according to some of the articles, they found 2 fire pits. The first fire pit they found on Friday, and they found one of the friends of Andreen found a zipper in that pit. But they got a search warrant for Friday. So the first search warrant was for Friday. Investigators found blood on the light switch. They found out it was human, and it also found a small amount of what could be blood evidence in a Chevrolet Malibu at the home. And that's according to the affidavit. Now, there was a second search warrant that was served Saturday, and investigators discovered 2 torn up receipts indicating Andreen McDonald had bought a shovel, an axe, a hatchet, a large heavy-duty plastic bags, gloves, 2 5-gallon gas cans on Saturday, the day after Andreen went missing. And according to this story, investigators found many of those items in the back of the McDonald's Porsche, and they also discovered heavy coveralls in the trash can records show, and they found another fire pit that was not present during the previous search. So investigators determined it had been used to destroy papers and other items. Andreen McDonald's sister, Cindy Johnson, was really holding back the tears as she looked through the pictures of her sister, Andreen, on her phone. She said, "It hurts. It really hurts. I never dreamed I would be losing my only sister." And what was really shocking is the fact that the friends that were there to support Andreen and who were concerned about her, Andreen had told them something that really, put them to where they were on the tips of their toes. They were ready to pounce because Andreen said if she was to ever have gone missing, that it would be because her husband killed her. And so, not only that, Flores, the manager, had mentioned there had been many instances where Andreen McDonald had given her documents and our car keys because she had problems with her husband trying to prevent her from going places and things like that. Now, Andre showed up between, the time's a little off, and this is according to affidavits and articles, but in between 1 and 2, let's just say that to be safe, possibly at 1:20 p.m. They question Andre McDonald about his wife. He says that his wife was at the ER, Baptist ER, being treated. When police investigated that story, of course, they found out that was a complete lie. As police talked to Andre McDonald and friends, they find out that the McDonalds had actually had an argument the night before she went missing, and that's according to the affidavit. But the affidavit does not give any details, at least not at this time. Now, he was very uncooperative. He didn't want to talk to them about it. But the next day, after authorities executed a second search warrant, they found out that all those purchases that I read off earlier was bought early that morning, Saturday. And that's according to the affidavit. But that same day, investigators followed Andre McDonald as he visited a gun shop where he bought a gun and ammunition. So it was a handgun, but a lot of ammunition. And while Andre McDonald is at the gun shop, another officer went back to their home on Solitude Cove to make sure it was secure. And when that deputy arrived to the home, he actually found additional evidence. It's at that point we go back to the gun shop. Andre's there purchasing gun and ammo when he spooks for some unknown reason. He freaks out. He leaves the gun shop. He leaves a gun. He leaves his ID, and he only has the ammunition. Police follow him, concerned that for his mental health, thinking that he's dangerous to himself. There's a possible suicide thoughts, maybe. And they end up detaining him for a while. The thing is, like I mentioned before, really, I mean, is he going to commit suicide with so much ammo? What was his true intentions with that ammo? That is something that really bothers me still today. So it is later on Sunday, after Andre's been released, he is arrested. So that's March 3rd for tampering with evidence. He ends up with a $2 million bond, and that is so that they're trying to prevent him from getting out of jail. While this is going on, you have a community that is very concerned about Andreen McDonald's well-being, and the community are working together through apps on their phone and things like this, and putting together search parties trying to locate the missing mother. Andreen McDonald is behind bars, and people feel there is a major foul play going on. They believe the husband killed the wife, especially after hearing what their daughter says. So time passes, and Andreen McDonald actually, his attorney fights for his freedom, while the community and the police department are searching what they think is a recovery for Miss Andreen McDonald. Around April 2nd, we find out that his attorney is fighting to lower the bond, and that happens. He gets out of jail, he pays the bond, and he's on house arrest. And people are very upset for the fact that he was able to get away with murder, basically, and is out free. Even though he has a GPS on his body, they're able to watch him. He's not allowed to see his daughter anymore. He's not allowed to leave the home, and I believe it's the Eden home. I haven't been able, don't quote me on that one. It's one of the homes that they own. He's not able to leave that home. So, it's basically an upscale jail sentence. And it's been months later, and nobody has located the remains of Andreen McDonald. They don't know if she's possibly still alive somewhere. They just have no clue. But people like, there's a group called Team Savage, which I've talked about them a few times, that you can locate their group webpage on Facebook, and I'll list it in the details below, that actually have done live stories themselves. A guy named Levi actually went to the jailhouse as Andreen McDonald was released, and he taped it live, and we seen it there on the Andreen McDonald group page on Facebook. They are very dedicated, and they sell items. Melinda Purnell runs this page, and her daughter helps her. She helps her mother sell bracelets and things like that, trying to collect money for Andreen McDonald's daughter. So, make sure you check that out. Now, Andreen McDonald is out of jail. You have people like Troy, his wife, and his 2-year-old. Team Savage, all these volunteers trying to help find the missing mother. You also have a custody battle going on between Andreen McDonald's parents. So you have Miss Smith, she has attorney, and then you have Mr. Anderson that has an attorney, and both are fighting for the custody of the granddaughter. According to the grandfather, he believes that Miss Smith is not able to care and feed the child in the way he thinks the child should be cared for. Both grandparents say that the child is kind of lashing out. She's saying some pretty dark things. Since the child's mother's been missing, and she has experienced this incident, this little girl has turned a little bit dark, according what Brown said. And she says things like, "I'm going to kill you. I'm going to cut you up. I'm going to burn you." And that's according to early reports of the child custody battle, which I'll go over in more details in just a bit. So a counselor from the child's school, Miss Applewhite, testified that the child, who is autistic, has changed her behavior dramatically since her mother disappeared. She said the child is hostile.
And it's not a happy child that she once was. And here's where we find out the quotes that we're hearing, how they're used. So the child has taken Play-Doh utensils and cuts up the Play-Doh, saying, "I'm going to cut you up and you're going to die." Applewhite said that the child has told other children that she wants to burn them. And what I'm finding out is that both grandparents are concerned about the granddaughter, but could it be something else? And some people believe it could be financial gain, but I'm not certain. That's just hearsay. But the fact of the matter is, the truth of it is both grandparents are lacking guidance on how to guide their granddaughter during these trying times. In fact, they've not even sought counseling for her in the way that they should have. But I think that's not because they don't care. It's because they don't understand what they need to do in this situation, because they too are suffering. And when you're going through something so traumatic, it's hard to be, to take care of somebody else when you're having trouble taking care of yourself. Of course, a lot of people are quick to judge, and that is something I try not to do. I try to look at both sides of the story and see the complete story, not just what I want to see. But after, a day in court, the judge awarded and granted custody temporarily to Miss Smith, the maternal grandmother of the child. And Anderson was granted, to come see her on the weekends and things like that. And as I mentioned in previous videos, I hope that they can work together, and hopefully they have somebody there to guide them through this horrible situation. They all need help. This is a very traumatic, horrifying event in their life. As of now, the only thing we have to report and is the fact that a lot of the groups, the Andreen McDonald groups on Facebook, etc., are still searching. They are searching constantly. They have volunteered their butts off, guys, and I want to make sure that they're noticed. Now we're at the part where we're going to talk about the story. So, do we believe that there's a possibility that her husband took his wife's life? And it seems from the evidence that we're seeing, that's probably fact. Especially after seeing the daughter, hearing what the daughter had to say, hearing, some of the past violence that the couple has been involved in. But it is devastating to think that they were a very nice couple. They looked like a good couple. They seemed happy. And they had things going for them. What would have made it turn in this direction? How is it this happy, friendly, bubbly girl ends up missing by the hands of the person she loves most? At this point, people are trying to figure out where could she be, because I'm doing this on the go, guys. I don't have any other choice. Where could she be? I mean, he didn't have that long to really get rid of her so well. So that's what we think, right? Because here we are many months later. We're running in to March now, and we have no clue where she is. So the thing is, all that stuff that they found, the receipts that were torn up in the garbage, things like this. This is a major in the military, okay? He's a cyber warfare engineer. Did he really think that the police would not show back up suddenly? Did he think that walking into a Lowe's with security cameras would not, that he wouldn't be watched, or they wouldn't pull those videos? So are those, that shovel with fresh dirt on it, is it legitimate? And what I'm wondering is, why in the world
Where were the police? Why weren't they watching him? I would have had an investigator watching him if he, for when he left the house. And it seems that they didn't have that 24/7 because of the fact that, police show up Friday. They suspect foul play right away. The police show back up Saturday. They follow him to the gun shop. They actually detain him for a bit. They release him. And then they show back up Sunday to arrest him. What about that time in between, the most crucial times? So anyways, they pull some phone information, GPS information, and find out that Andre McDonald was at Camp Bullis and had no business there. So authorities actually turn their interest to that military base, and they search it, but they come up empty-handed. And we have had so many volunteers out there searching areas all over the place, and they too are empty-handed. So I always say, and I believe, and this isn't, this is my idea, this is my opinion on this part, is the most crucial time of wherever Andre McDonald was sometime Thursday late night until whenever he showed back up to the McDonald's house at 1:20 Friday. I believe that is probably one of the most important times. If that is not the time, then it's right after it happened. And I feel like maybe police didn't have adequate time to interview the daughter. I believe the daughter knows a lot more than they realize. And I hope that the family, I don't understand why in the world didn't the investigators offer a psychiatrist to talk to the daughter immediately, since she had so many clues that she might have seen something. What is going on with this investigation? It seems like just something doesn't seem right with this investigation. I feel like it's just not been carried out correctly. That's not saying that they don't care. I'm just telling you, it seems like maybe they're inexperienced, they don't know, or the family's uncooperative. I have no idea. But hopefully, the most important thing is that they do find answers, and they can close this case out, and they can get justice, especially for the daughter. And as always, I'm curious to know what you guys think. Some of you people probably kept up. They might know more details than I do. This case is so large that if I made a video that covered everything, it would take at least 3 hours. I'm having trouble getting 34 minutes in. But, and so it might, it's just hard when you got a family and things going on to make these videos. I don't know how these other people find time to do YouTube videos the way that they do them. But yes, please share what you think below. What do you think happened to Andreen? What do you think happened and how it happened? And I will get to those comments and read them. Trust me on that. I enjoy reading what you guys think. It's important to me. So anyways, guys, let's hope the best for these guys. Let's hope that, we find out something soon. And I think we will find out something pretty soon. I'm going to say thank you out there to all those people out there volunteering and trying to help find Andreen McDonald. And we appreciate everything you do. And like I said, there are some people raising money for the family. It might not be right away, but I'll get that link posted in the details below. Alrighty guys, for now, I'm going to say thank you for watching. I appreciate every one of you guys, and I'm sending blessings to everyone today. And I'll see you soon.